rise and remain quiet, please.
Good afternoon, Shortridge. Good afternoon. I hope you guys are having a decent day. I'm Alessandro, to be more formal. I hope you are awake and paying attention because I know a lot of you like to doze off. And hey, you in the back with the headphones on, please take those out because we got a really cool speaker. He is the outreach coordinator in Marion County for the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. And what that is, it's the state agency responsible for coordinating the state's public higher education system, administering state-based financial aid programs, and bolstering Indiana's higher education attainment rates. And what that all is, we'll hopefully find out during the course of this interview. So please welcome, with a round of applause, our World Changing 101 speaker, Jose Medina. Hey, Jose, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So let's start out with some basic intro questions. So I read your bio. What is it that you do specifically or exactly? Because that was yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I get it. It's not the easiest thing to understand. I always say it's a super fancy way of saying what we do. Whenever I give presentations, I give that fancy definition for everyone to look at and be like, oh, that sounds really important. Honestly, putting it simply, we're the state government helping students go to college or university by offering grants. So money from the state government to go to college, university, help you pay for it in terms of scholarship. Personally, as the outreach coordinator here in Marion County, my job is to meet with students, meet with families, meet with community members, meet with schools, counselors, anyone and everyone about how we can get you set up to help you pay for college or university. And that entails anything from, helping students sign up for 21st century scholars as early as middle school, all the way up to talking to state senators about how the, state financial aid needs to increase to kind of, make sure that everyone has a chance to go into post-secondary school here in Indiana. So a little bit of everything. Every day looks different. Today, I've been working from home a lot, catching up on emails. But yesterday, I was at Marion University talking to incoming freshmen on what they need to do. And then I was holding a FAFSA workshop at Center for Leadership Development in the afternoon. Tomorrow, I'm working at the state fair, doing tabling, talking about their program. So every day looks a little bit different, pretty much, but just kind of keeping that goal of helping you get to college, essentially.
Nice. That sounds like a pretty exciting variety of things to do. That's pretty cool. I have a question for you, kind of personal. How are you qualified for your position? I know I'm not doubting your ability at all. I'm just asking, like what did you do for college to get into this field?
For sure. So actually, it is I feel like everyone that ends up in their field, unless, you get into a dedicated field like the medical field, like being a doctor or going to be a lawyer. Well, even a lawyer looks a little bit different for everyone. No one really has a clear path. So, for example, I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. I went to Arizona State University, go Sun Devils. So hey, my first major sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying we're the Blue Devils, man. We get it.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, we're the Sun Devils. So my first major actually in college, I was a climatology meteorology major because I really wanted to be a weatherman growing up. I don't know why. It looked really fun. I like to think I'm fairly entertaining and I kind of like the weather. And then I got to Calculus 3 and I was like, oh, I don't like this. I am not liking my life at this moment. So I was like, you know what? Let's just pump the brakes. Decided to go to an exploratory major, which is fairly common now. You don't have to be committed to major in college or university. Decided to take a couple classes, kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And then I decided to go to the exciting field of political science. So I studied political science. I graduated with a Bachelor of Sciences in political science and a minor in transporter studies, which is the study of immigration, the whole Mexico-United States border, what the economy looks like, immigration, all that fun stuff. It was actually really entertaining. And then I got to graduating from college and I was like, oh, geez, I don't know what I want to do. I think I want to go to graduate school. I think I want to go to law school. Decided to do a program called Public Allies, which is kind of like a paid internship for a year. I got placed at a food bank in Arizona, the world's first food bank. They always told us to say that. And I realized that I really liked helping people. So I worked there for a few years. And then eventually I found myself here in Indiana working at Starfish Initiative, mentoring nonprofit to help students through high school and help them get to college. And through my work there, I got my job at the commission helping students. So honestly, I wouldn't say it was something that, I was prepared for my whole life. It's just something that I kind of found myself getting into, being really liking it and being passionate about it. And then opportunities just kind of opened for me, and it worked out that way. So yeah, I didn't have really a clear path towards it. I just kind of happened to stumble upon it, and I really liked it, and it works really well for me. So
yeah, and that's really good to hear, man, because I talk to my friends and stuff like that, and they're like, you know, I have an idea of what I want to do, but I don't know exactly. So that's cool. I'm just glad you're not a weatherman in Indiana, because they're never right, and we would not have the same relationship. So, yeah. Let's see. We got some questions here. Oh, yeah. So, was there, when you were, you know, getting into college and like interviewing and application stuff like that, was there anybody that you talked to who's basically what you do now? Like, was there anybody there for you?
So actually, no, I didn't have someone that I could talk to and turn to. My parents, they're wonderful people, but they were like, dude, we have no idea what college or university is. They're like, nada más dinos lo que tenemos que hacer nosotros. Te vamos a ayudar, pero no sabemos qué tenemos que hacer. So essentially, my parents were like, we're happy to help you. You just have to tell us how. We don't know what college looks like here in the United States. They're from Mexico. They're from Culiacan, Sinaloa. But so it's kind of on my own. It was really just a lot of headaches. I actually, I know that the FAFSA strikes fear in people. I actually didn't submit my FAFSA successfully the first time, and I missed out on grants and scholarships. So when I'm working with students and working with families, I really kind of have reminders, PTSD, whatever you want to call it, about, you know, all those headaches and trying to apply for financial aid, applying for college, and all these things you have no idea you have to do unless someone guides you through it and it's been there before. So that's really kind of why I'm pretty passionate. Well, one of the many reasons I'm passionate about what I do is because I've been there before, and I definitely want to make it easier for students and their families to remove as many headaches and barriers to attending a college or university that first day.
Yeah, and I totally understand that, man. I got really frustrated. I saw this documentary about Rick Springer. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not, no.
Okay, so basically this guy, he's claiming to do what you do, which is help people get into college. But there's this thing where there's a front door to get into college and a back door, and the very wealthy, rich people often use the back door. They give great amounts of donations. So what he did is he provided a side door, and he basically got in, or he got wealthy parents' children in for a lesser amount. But it was a very scandalous thing that happened a couple years ago, and there's a really cool documentary about it. And I'm hoping it's not what you do, but I'm pretty sure it's not. But yeah.
Is it behind the whole USC controversy of people acting like they were athletes and stuff, like with Lady Floss? Exactly. Oh, okay. Yeah, yes. I'm very familiar with that. I didn't know that was the man's name, or I kind of forgot it, or blocked it out probably.
I might be botching the name a little bit, but yeah, I think that's what it is.
Gotcha. All right, I'll definitely keep a lookout for it. So
yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So I got another question for you. Let's see. I got a couple here. So what are the biggest challenges you face in your profession? What is it that you struggle with on a day-to-day or in a, general sense?
Oh boy. So a lot of challenges that I face. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is, I wouldn't say misinformation, but lack of getting information. There are tons of information out there that a lot of parents and families, students aren't aware of. It's very helpful. It's even free. That's honestly the biggest thing. A lot of my colleagues that are outreach coordinators have, I think, all the 19 counties themselves. I'm the only one that has one county, but I have the most students and the most schools to cover. So it's a lot of work. So I partner a lot with community partners. So I mentioned Starfish Initiative. That's one of our partners, Center for Leadership Development. Even your counselors at South Florida High School, Ms. Harris, even Senora de Costa. I'm sorry if I butchered that last name. I always had trouble pronouncing it. So I'm just going to go with Ms. T, Senora de. Just working with them to kind of spread the word and saying, hey, if you know someone that could benefit from this, just tell them about it, and then just direct them to our website. I would say those are probably the biggest challenges, because it's not that people aren't interested, it's just they don't have an idea this stuff exists, it's free, and it's available to them here in Indiana. Here in Indiana, we actually give out, last fiscal year 2020, we gave out almost $360 million in state financial aid. That's fourth overall in the U.S. and first in the Midwest. So when people think of Indiana, they think, like being socially conservative, saving money. For giving out money to go to college, Indiana is actually very generous with that. So, and people have no idea that that's how much money we give out to help go to college here in Indiana.
I had no idea, man. That blows me away to hear about. Wow, we're number one in something, or number four, I guess. But yeah,
number one in the Midwest, though. You could,
Oh yeah.
that in Ohio's and Illinois spaces. So
I'll take it. I'll take it. Who's your pride? So another question. What advice would you have for IPS students who want to make the world a better place, you know, like you do? Like if they want to not follow their dreams, but follow a path that will help them help other people.
Yeah, for sure. So I think honestly, just getting to know yourself and what you like to do, as cliche as it sounds, if someone's like, you know, you don't work a day if you love what you do. Not every day you're gonna love what you do, honestly. There are some days that I get headaches or I just get frustrated, and it's just, you know, that's life. It happens. You're gonna hit some speed bumps, but it really leans on the fact that, you know, I overall like what I do and I'm passionate about what I do. And if you kind of go that route, and you find something that you're really good at and you really like, honestly, there's always a way to give back, in any different way. I mean, even if you think that, you know, you work for a bank and you say, you know what, I'm kind of jaded by the fact that, you know, I can kind of feel like I'm making money for people and I don't feel good about it. You could be working for a foundation for a bank where you're literally in charge of deciding what charities you're going to give money to, and that's a great way to give back in itself. So yeah, I would say if you just do something you like and maybe just finding a way to give something back to your community or making the world a better place, I would say you can probably be pretty happy.
Yeah, happiness is key, man. Do what makes you happy. I've always heard that, always preached that. All right, we have actually a comment. Our first question from a student. This is from Nevaeh Smith. How do you bridge the gap between minority students and them asking higher education? What message do you send to them to inspire them?
Yeah, so 21st Century Scholars, the program that we run here at the Commission for Higher Education, the one we're most known for, our biggest program in terms of state financial aid that we give out and amount. There's this thing, if you're a 21st Century Scholar, I hope this sounds familiar to you. It's called the Scholar Success Program. It's a program designed to help you as your first day in high school to start on that path towards college readiness, college preparedness, and how to pay for college, essentially. So the Scholar Success Program and ScholarTrack, our website, are actually really great at closing achievement gaps. That means is having students that are 21st Century Scholars, first generation college students that are coming from minorities, you know, African American, Latino, Latina, Latine, Latinx, having students that really kind of close with achievement gaps that, you know, traditionally, you know, white students from affluential areas, you know, they have the higher achievement rate. So their rates are, last time I looked at our diversity report, it's 82% of those students enroll in the post-secondary institution within a year after graduating high school. 21st Century Scholars, students have to complete the Scholar Success Program regardless of their ethnicity or race, are at 84. So ScholarTrack, the Scholar Success Program, does a great job of closing those and saying, hey, you can actually, you know, outperform those other students that come from the, you know, the prestigious areas here in Indiana. So we always say, or my colleague Brittany Collins says, you know, 21st Century Scholars, Scholar Success Program isn't a magic bullet. It's not going to fix every single issue, but it's a pretty darn good medicine at really putting those students and putting them on track and being like, hey, yes, you come from, you know, harder backgrounds, you know, with more disadvantages, but we can put you on the track to kind of, you know, close those gaps and actually try to get you to that post-secondary goal at the end.
All right. I'm sorry, I couldn't help but notice. Is there somebody on your bed over there? Is that
yes, that is my dog Piper. So she is snoring. So we got her during the pandemic. So she's kind of attached to both of us. My wife is a third grade teacher at CFI 27, for those of you that, you know, went to the Center for Inquiry Schools. And now that she's gone, she's like attached to me now. We got her during the pandemic, so she's like used to humans being always around. So she's like, just like, I need to be near my humans. So she's snapping, you know. Don't want to wake her just because she would probably start barking. So, and the window's open, so we'll see. If she starts barking, if I go on mute automatically, it's just because she's barking and being a jerk, and I don't want you all to hear that. So.
Gotcha. She's a people person, and I assume you are too, because you work with a lot of people. Is that, like, what kind of relationships do you build in your field? Like, are the relationships with your students, like, really important to you?
Yeah, so you build all kinds of relationships, honestly. I think there's 7 of my colleagues that are outreach coordinators. There's 7, and there's 2 other members that are at the central office here in downtown Indianapolis. You definitely have to be an extroverted person to be in outreach, just because you always have to be meeting people. You have to be up presenting in front of, I think I've presented 1,000 students at once. Obviously, relationship with students are super important. My information is out there. My email, my work iPhone numbers out there because I want you to contact me, feel comfortable contacting me about any issues you're having regarding college, grants, scholarships. So those relationships are really important, but also relationships, with counselors and teachers, and even your families and parents. Those relationships come really handy because if there is something, let's say one of the student is having issues, applying to Marion or their state financial aid is going through, I can pick up my phone, contact the Marion, and really get that issue fixed or get it started to get fixed and tell the student what they need to do to get their scholarship to Marion. So honestly, a big part of my job is maintaining those relationships and, just working on them and seeing if there's anything I can do to help them, because I never know when I'm going to need something from them, for example, like in the Marion student example. So it's a lot of relationship building and maintaining those relationships.
Nice. We just got a comment from the chat over here from NATL. Some former CFI 27 students are wondering what your wife's name is because they might have had her, they think.
If you're high school students, I highly doubt you had her. She teaches 3rd grade. Her name is Miss Medina. So okay. She has my last name. She took my last name.
Maybe they have siblings or something like that. So they want to.
Yeah, you might have siblings and they might have her. She teaches 3rd grade. So.
Right. That's cool. That's really cool. So have we touched on your ability to speak more than one language in this interview?
You have not, no.
Okay, then maybe we should bring that up, right? So how does being bilingual, speaking both Spanish and English, help you in your career?
It is super helpful, actually. When I applied for this job, or I was reached out to for this job, speaking Spanish was actually a big part of it. The Hispanic, Latino, Latinx community here in Indiana is actually the fastest growing of the minorities. There's a huge growing sector here in Indianapolis on the west side, and you just sprinkled all throughout. So speaking Spanish in Marion County is huge. I remember when I was growing up, my parents, they can speak a little bit of English, but they're still kind of not comfortable with it. They feel, maybe that they can't communicate their ideas as best as they can in Spanish. So even growing up, I had to translate a lot for them. So I remember being that student of my parents really wanted to ask a question, but they didn't know how to. And then I was like 3rd grade, so I didn't know, how to ask about, what rental car insurance was, but I kind of had to figure it out. So my job a lot of the time when I'm working, with Spanish-speaking parents is just to kind of bridge that divide and get them to ask questions. So everyone always has a question that they want to ask, it's just to know how to. So having another language that I'm fluent in, that feel more comfortable speaking in, is a huge asset because I can answer those questions that they really want answered, that they need answered, especially in regards to financial aid. You read the definition of what the Commission for Higher Education does. Imagine trying to read that and it's not your native language. It's just like another added barrier. So that's where I come in, simplify it, make it so it's digestible, you can understand it, and even in your own language so you feel more comfortable.
So with those students, do you ever deal with like a stress-related situation at home where like they're not, the best mentally, or they have some, financial problems? Do you ever work with them as like just, one-on-one, human-to-human kind of counselor? Do you ever have to do that in your job, or is it more of a very formal situation?
I mean, this job is kind of like what you make it out to be. So every day looks different. So I've had all different kinds of conversations with families, with parents, with students. I've had conversations of anything from, someone is struggling and they've had, family death. So what does that look like? What do they need to do? But also, the super sweet people that like don't really need much. They just want to, they just want to connect to someone because they haven't talked to someone in a while, and they just need to vent, even if they're having a rough day, get laid off from their job. They just really want to vent, and that's honestly a lot of what my job is. You may not have, an issue related to what my job specifically is. So speak financial aid, enrolling in college, but maybe you just need someone to vent, and that's a lot of the times that's what we'll do. We're happy to connect. Like I said, we're all extroverted people. We're just happy to connect with people and talk to them about anything. We're all salaried, so we're always like, well, we're just getting paid for it, so it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we just really want people to have a really good experience with the mission, and even when themselves, we want to be approachable. Even if you don't have a state financial aid issue, we want you to feel comfortable to talk to us about anything you need. And for example, if we can't help you, we probably can connect you with someone that can help you with whatever kind of issue you're having or any help that you need.
And that actually touches on a question from the chat from Anonymous. Do you ever have to deal with people who may be uncomfortable at first, but then later warm up? And what I think they're asking is, from their perspective, so we do a thing here called peer mentoring, and we're wondering how we can engage or break the ice with some of our mentees. So how do you go about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually used to be a peer mentor in high school. Didn't have a lot of work to do. I had the first period I remember peer mentoring, and no one wants to talk at 10:30 a.m. So I didn't have much to do with it. In regards to breaking the ice, I don't really have a lot of good tips. I feel like I lean a lot on just me being me more than anything. I just have an approachable kind of personality, I guess, because people just come to me and talk to me about anything. But usually I just try to connect with someone on something that they have in common or something that they really like or there's an interest. So I've become really good at kind of studying people and based on what they're wearing or what their backpack is, if they have some kind of flair, and trying to ask them about that. People really like talking about themselves usually. I'm no exception, honestly. So if someone's wearing like a soccer shirt, for example, I play soccer. So I'm like, hey, I know about that team. Or like, tell me about your team. Who do you like your favorite player? If someone has a Pokemon keychain, I'm like, hey, like, tell me about Pokemon. What's Pokemon up to nowadays? Because I haven't followed Pokemon since the 151 original one. So usually trying to make that connection, trying to shift the conversation to something that they're comfortable with and that they can open up with a little bit more usually gets the ball rolling. So what I find, or usually that's what my strategy is.
Okay. Pokemon, that's very dated. No offense to you, but yeah.
Hey, there are 3 Pokemon games coming out this year on the Nintendo Switch, so it's fresh in my mind for some reason.
Okay, news to me. I used to be a big, card collector or whatever in like middle school. Yeah. But okay, we have about 5 minutes left, and I want to make sure we know how to get a hold of you and like get a hold of your facilities and stuff like that, your services. So could you elaborate like where you're based out of, where you kind of have your situation?
Yeah, for sure. So we are a state agency, but we're based in Indianapolis, Indiana, here in downtown Indy. Honestly, you could reach out to us in multiple ways. Our website is learnmoreindiana.org, learnmoreindiana.org. Tons of resources and help for anything that you need related to college and getting a job and anything and everything, honestly. Anything from how to save for a newborn baby to start college, all the way to how to interview for a job. All that stuff is available on learnmoreindiana.org. And then me personally, you can contact me. I'll throw my info up in the chat. You can reach me by email at jmedina@che.in.gov. And my work iPhone number is 317-617-0318. And then Senora Te also has contact information. If you're like, oh, I want to contact that dude about something random, Senora Te has my permission to give out my contact information. Just remember, it is a state issued contact information. So state government can look at it. So maybe, if you don't get too casual with it, I would say.
I got you. Well, thanks for being here, man. We really appreciate your answering our questions. I wanted to conclude a little earlier because oftentimes we're cut off, but thank you so much. And I hope the Shortridge students really appreciated you here today. So thank you.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And then hopefully COVID rates stay low, and I should come out to Shortridge fairly soon.
All right. Take care, man. Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Bye.